And joining us now from Richmond, running for something else, just keeps beating the odds and beating the odds and beating the odds. Joe Morrissey, independent delegate from Richmond, has announced his intentions to run for the Democratic nomination for State Senate, District 16. That is basically the Richmond area. I'll go over the geographicals in a minute. But that seat held by Roz Dance, right now Democrat. And also the other challenger in there is Delegate Joe Preston, who replaced Roz Dance in her seat when she ran for Senate. That primary expected to be close. Now, Joe Morrissey throws his hat in the ring. And, hey, Joe, good to have you with us.
Great to be with you again this morning. And I understand you got Mike in the studio with you. Let me say hello to my former colleague. Did a great job in the House of Delegates, and I'm glad to be able to say hi to him.
Hey, Joe, it's good to talk to you.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I am. I'm running. I'm going to announce on Wednesday that I'm going to run for the state senate. That district covers Dinwiddie and Petersburg, Richmond, Chesterfield, and parts of Prince George, and looking forward to it.
Okay, now, Joe, you just got elected as an independent delegate, beat all the odds. We predicted your win. By the way, I was the only person in the galaxy to predicted you would run for state senate. Everybody else told me I was out of my mind. And Joe, once again, I'm right. I mean, it's amazing. Maybe I should
Let me tell you, audience, you were the first one when I said that I announced that I was going to resign from the House and run as an independent. Nobody had ever won that district as an independent. Never. Had everybody, the two sitting state senators, the governor, the congressman, all come out against me, and you were the first person who said not only was I going to win, but that I was going to win by a comfortable margin, and then and you were, as the Irish say, spot on.
Well, you won in a landslide. Now, Delegate Morrissey, what inspired this race?
It's simple. As you probably recall, I thought about running 4 years ago when Henry Marsh held the seat, deferred and thought, of course, very seriously about 4 years hence running. That's exactly what I'm doing. There's a couple of things. As Mike knows, right now it's very difficult, very little governing you can accomplish as a member of the minority party in the House of Delegates. But there's a lot you can do in the state Senate. I've been in the House for 8 years. As you know, not reticent to speak my mind. If I have an issue I think that's important, I speak out. I've never been pigeonholed in between parties. As Mike might tell you, I've supported. I'm one of the only, I think, pro-life Democrats that's in there. Supported bills like the fetal pain syndrome bill. Also, various school choice bills I've supported. So I don't just get on the bandwagon and say, okay, this is a typical or prototypical Democratic cause, and therefore I will, in lockstep, vote for it. I think things through and have a bit of an independent in the House. Simply put, I can do better and more in the state Senate, and I'm looking forward to doing that.
How do you win this race, Joe?
It's simple. There are an army of folks out there that have been assisted by me. I have said, and I've said to you many times, chief job, as I think as a legislator, is taking care of your constituents first. You don't call my office up with a problem without hearing back from me that day. Those people that have been helped and have been assisted will help us. Here's how I win the race. I am going to carry Richmond. I am going to do very well in Petersburg and in Dinwiddie. We will mount a campaign in Prince George, Dinwiddie, and Petersburg. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if I beat Roz Dance in her own district, in her own backyard. So I don't want to appear arrogant or cocky, but I think that it's going to be anybody that thinks it's it's going to be a squeaker, I think, is misguided.
Joe, why would you beat Roz Dance in her own district?
Here's why. You know what people like more than anything? That there's lots of, I can't tell you the number of times I've knocked on a Republican door and they've said to me, you know, it's a primary. They said, Joe, I've never voted Democrat in my life. He said, I'm a die-in-the-wool Republican, but I like you because you speak your mind. I might not like some of the issues that you espouse or that you champion, but I like the fact that what you believe you stand up for, and that's why I'm going to fight for you. That's why I'm going to vote for you. In this particular situation, here's the difference between Roz Dance and I, and here's the major one. We go down there, and there's the Opportunity Educational Institute bill. She votes for it to take away, to allow the state to take over a failing school. That's fine. That's her convictions. Good for her for doing that, and I'm saying that sincerely. However, 2 days later, she goes down to Petersburg and is walking around the school with a placard that says, "Save our school from public takeover." What? And then I said, what are you doing? You got to at least, you can't say one thing in Capitol Square and another in Petersburg. And she says, I got to do what I got to do. Well, that's not me, John. I speak my mind. I say exactly what I believe in. And some people like that and will vote for me, but some people like the fact that I'm a straight shooter.
Joe, let's cut to the chase. You got a trial coming up again in April. Basically, the government alleging that you forged some kind of documents during your trial, although you took the Alford plea. So for a layman like me, it says, well, if you're going to take a plea, why would you be working around with documents? How do you see this thing playing out?
It's going to be the most embarrassing episode the Commonwealth has ever seen. There is absolutely no credibility to whatsoever to that document, first of all, being forged. It was prepared 7 years ago, and it was introduced by another attorney 7 months ago in a pleading. We've had, handwriting experts have looked at it. It's not even a close call. Importantly, the issue with the $50 a week payment had nothing to do with the Alford plea. It would be nonsensical to even consider something like that. Anyway, we thought the government would be looking for an exit strategy a month ago when they were shown some of the facts. They weren't. We have 7 original documents dating back to 2007. It's going to be an embarrassing episode for the Commonwealth. It's not even a hiccup that I'm concerned about. They brought this indictment. They brought it on the eve of the special election, raided my office, took away all of our campaign GOTV call sheets, and they want to fight. They got it. I'll see them in court in April.
Joe, I want to get back to that raid because it still is sticking in my throat like a chicken bone that I can't get out. The Henrico detectives had this information. They raided your office at 2 p.m. on the day of the election, taking all of your get out the vote material, your cell phones, your computers, your call lists. You know, they could have done that the day after, 3 days ahead of time. They do it at 2 p.m. You've got 17 volunteers in there. They all get thrown out in the street. I mean, is that not interference with the democratic process?
Well, first of all, it wasn't the day of the election. It was the day before, as Mike would know, one of the most important days in anybody's campaign election cycle. All the volunteers are in there making GOTV, get out the vote, calls. When the police come in with a search warrant, they take all the computers, they take all of the volunteers' voter call list. What? Why are you taking these lists? They then take the brain to the printer so that we can't print out anymore. They then send them, they look at their phones, send them out, do not let them take the campaign call sheets. And I go, folks, what are you looking for? We'll give it to you. But these are call lists for tomorrow's special election. They take them all. Take them all up. They go send them out in the cold. If I didn't, and I know I sound defensive because it's me and I was in the middle of it, but I've never, ever seen anything like that happen ever. But you know what? People get it. And the next day, what was interesting, we had people, Republicans, calling in, not just from the 74th, but elsewhere. They said, listen, I'm not going to vote in this primary. I don't live in this district. I'm a Republican. I'm never going to vote for a Democrat. But can I come into your office to help make calls, to do whatever? What I read was disgraceful. So I think it backfired.
So are you, if you were to win, are you guaranteed to caucus with the Democrats, or would you consider caucusing with the Republicans and Tommy Norman?
Though I would consider caucusing with anybody. It is, and I would listen to what they, what the person had to say. I mean, I read in the paper the other day, one of the Democrats down there said he doesn't share our values. Really? Okay. John, I want to go where I'm loved. I think that's pretty clear.
Joe, it's Mike.
So,
Joe, it's Mike here, and John and I were talking about this off the air. That either way, however this election in 2015 comes out in the Senate, it's still going to be a 1 or 2 person majority. So every single vote will count, which does put you in a pretty unique position. Going back to policy, you kind of start off talking about education a little bit, and I'm pretty familiar with your area. I was actually born and raised in Hopewell, and there's a lot of need there for improving education, and obviously Petersburg Schools are one of the schools in question under the Opportunity Institute. So what is it you can see as far as school choice that you mentioned in your support of school choice? Give me some ideas of what you've seen proposed by either party that hasn't passed, because there's been a number of things that have come through. Obviously this year charter schools was a topic. The Opportunity Institute was up. Grading schools, all these things. What is it you can see that you might support on the Republican side or on the Democrat side that you've not seen pass to help expand choice in the area?
Okay, couple things. First of all, I have been a proponent of alternative to just public school education. Most Democrats think that the be-all and end-all, the panacea is all public education. Not me. Charter schools, contract schools, parochial, private, homeschooling, all our basket of opportunities all need to be explored. You're speaking to one of the original proponents of charter schools, something that Republicans have supported. I am a strong advocate of full funding for pre-K in every zip code in the Commonwealth. I don't think it's even a question now that if you're an early participant in pre-K, you are more likely to become a productive citizen later on. With regard to, there was a bill that was introduced by Republicans. It was a grading bill, A through F. And lots of, unfortunately, people in my own party didn't necessarily jump on board with that. I did. I like the idea of accountability, schools being held up to measure, and I supported that and will continue to do that. Mike, I don't know if you know this, but I used to teach high school government history. Used to coach wrestling. I'm a big proponent of giving every student the best shake he or she can give in order to go on to college and postgraduate education. So I served on the education committee for 8 years. I am not one of those people that gets pigeonholed and only follows typical Democratic positions. I'm wide open, and I think my record supports that.
Well, I know one of the bills that came up. Well, one of the things we always hear when we talk about anything other than throwing more money at public schools is we're taking money away from the students. And I'm also a big supporter of charter schools. Delegate Massey had a couple of years ago a bill that he carried and passed. Governor McDonnell signed, it would allow corporations to give scholarship funds to students that were in failing schools to give them some opportunities. Where did you stand on that bill, and where are you on ideas like that?
I put my money where my mouth is. The bill that Massey supported was one that allowed you to make a contribution so that money, you would get a credit on your state income tax return, but that money could be used for students who were desirous of, going to a non-traditional public school. I actually invested $25,000 in that. So not only I thought it was had great potential, but I also invested in it. Here's the saying. Here's how most folks, the Democrats, look at it. If you allow, say, for example, vouchers for students, then everybody is going to abandon, or many people will abandon public schools, and therefore public schools will not be able to continue because there'll be fewer schools in larger brick and mortar buildings, and it's not sustainable. I don't think that way. I think that you constantly have to raise the bar, and if you have a charter school or a contract school, a parochial school down the corner that is producing better students, people who are better prepared to go into middle school or high school or college, then it's going to force the public schools to raise the bar. That's a good thing. Competition is great, and I've supported anything almost in education that creates a more competitive environment.
All right, Joe, we're almost out of time. I need like a one-word answer. Mountain Valley Pipeline, up or down?
I need more. I'm sorry. I need more information on the pipeline. Okay,
we're going to get back to that, Joe, when we have you on. Again, if people want more info on your campaign, where do they go?
They go to our my campaign website. They can also call 737-1626. And John, I'm waiting for your prediction. You've done everything but predict this Senate race. Democratic primary, Preston, Dance, and Morrissey. Who's going to win?
Morrissey wins.